What's up YouTube, I'm Jables. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be opening up this Tusken Raider figure from the Mandalorian TV series. Pretty excited about opening this figure up. I don't have a Tusken Raider in my collection, and the Tuskens are pretty heavily featured in the Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, and even the Book of Boba Fett. Really cool to finally get one into the collection here. I might actually put this guy up with the original A New Hope figures. I think he's going to look great either with the original figures or with the Mandalorian figures. So yeah, this is going to be cool. I feel like he's going to come with a lot of cool accessories. Hopefully he's not too hard to pose with all this stuff. We're going to open up the box and see what's inside it here. Alright, let's take a closer look at the box art here. You got the Tusken Raider looking absolutely epic, holding that gaffy stick right there on the front. Looks pretty cool. Down here we have him holding his rifle. This is TMS 028. This is from the first season of the Mandalorian show. Another shot on this side with him holding the binoculars, or I can't remember what they're called in the Star Wars universe, but he traded the Mandalorian for information on his bounty. And yeah, nothing on this side, but alright, let's dig into the box and see what we got here. Alright, this artwork on the top here is absolutely epic. Very reminiscent of the very first Star Wars movie with the Tusken Raider standing over Luke Skywalker. This is exactly how I think I want them posed on my shelf, but we'll see. Maybe there's something else that I'll come up with that's really cool, but again, excellent piece of artwork here. We got all the hands here right on top with some kind of pouch. I'm not sure if that's his belt or another thing that gets slung over his shoulder or something. We'll take a look into that, but let's look at these hands real quick. First thing I noticed about these hands is that these are actually individually wrapped with cloth, which is really awesome. That surprised me. I thought it would be like a hard painted piece of plastic that looks like cloth, but that is really cool. We got a pair of hands here that kind of go together. One looks almost like a trigger finger, almost like an Uncle Sam pointing gesture here. He also comes with a pair of closed fists here for punching his way across the sand dunes. And the last pair of hands he comes with are these gripping hands for like holding weapons and stuff. So he comes with 3 extra sets of hands plus the hands that are on him. Really cool detail here with the cloth wrapped around that. Alright, let's look at his accessories here. He has this absolutely epic looking rifle that he comes with, and this thing is long. This probably rivals Mandalorian's pulse rifle for length. It might even be longer than that, but the detail that is on this is really awesome. It's like worn over here on the stock. It's got this kind of like copper tint to it all the way down. It looks kind of gold in this video here, but in person it looks a little more copper, but it's totally awesome. Like, look at that. Got an awesome strap that comes with it too, so he can wear it over his shoulder, like kind of slung when he's not using it. In this pocket, will be facing upwards when he's got it there, but the detail on this gun is phenomenal. Now, I know the little one's a gaffy stick. I don't know if this is a gaffy stick, but it's really awesome looking. It's like I got a mace at one end, and it's got this wooden like club almost at the other end. And it's got a texture to it. It's not paint, it's actually got a texture. Feels really awesome. And this thing is long too. It's almost as long as the gun here, or the rifle that we just looked at. Not quite, but it's still pretty significant. So 2 nice pieces so far for the accessories. Let's take a look at that mace end again one more time. Yes, I really like that. I like how the metal darkens as it gets down here, kind of by, I don't know if that's a handle or if that's what that is exactly, but the tips of the metal over here, or the blades I guess you would say, like have some worn marks to it, like he's the tips of the mace over here have some like cool like worn marks to it. And definitely been swinging it. The tip of this kind of mace end here has some worn marks on the upper blades or upper edges, like it's definitely been thrown around and hit on stuff. So this is some really awesome detail. And then we got this smaller gaffy stick here, or maybe this is actually the gaffy stick, the one with the toothpick at the end here. But man, look at that detail. You can really appreciate that fine level of detail with stuff like this when you really get up close and look at it. It looks like real wood. It's pretty nice. This end of the gaffy stick also has some really cool texturing in it too. Like, just some amazing detail went into this piece. You can tell that whoever designed this figure went all out and like really wanted to make this Tusken Raider as authentic as possible, because the level of detail so far in just these pieces alone is amazing. Just from these 3 weapons alone that we've seen so far, there's a lot of options for posing, and this is the kind of level of detail that you're really looking for when you're buying a figure like this. Like, these are phenomenal. And then he also comes with these like binoculars or rangefinder kind of things. This thing's got some really cool detail too. Definitely beat up, some weathering marks on the top. It's like a dirty knob on the front there. The lens is, you know, a little beat up. This is a really nice like Star Wars accessory that you could pretty much use with any figure that you wanted to. So if you don't want to use it with the figure it came with, put it with somebody else. Do some really cool posing with it. Oh, there was one more accessory in the back here I didn't see. This is what they were digging up out of the sand and drinking out of. I can't remember what they're called. Desert water biscuits. Pretty sure that's what they called it in the show. Alright, let's take a look at the figure itself here. I'm not sure if this is a he or a she, who can say, you know, but it's got some plastic over the chest here to protect all this from getting rub marks on it, and one piece over the head. You got some on the hands and the legs, and nothing on the back because you got this cloth here. So let me take off the plastic real quick. Alright, so we got the figure out of the plastic here, and head looks really awesome. The head is not fabric wrapped like the hands and the rest of it is. I think that just would have taken them forever to do and nearly impossible to make it look good. It is a molded and painted piece, but it looks really good still. It's a little darker than the rest of the figure itself. But that's probably due to the sheer amount of sweat that comes off of this person's head being in the desert all day, which is pretty nasty to think about. But I don't know, do Tusken Raiders sweat? Who knows? Really cool to finally get a Tusken Raider in here. These guys are super scary looking to me when I was a kid. They just got this crazy set of like metal eyes, and you don't even know what's underneath here really, but the mouth is just terrifying. Whatever the heck this thing is made out of, this weird filter they have, definitely sweet. The one gripe people had about this figure when it was announced was that the fabric and the figure was just too clean looking. For a figure that was out in the desert all the time, it should have a lot more weathering to it. I'm okay with it. I mean, I'd rather have a clean one than not have a Tusken Raider at all. But, you know, I like to pretend that he just had his laundry day, you know? Just got back and everything's fresh and brand new, and he's about to get out there and get it all dirty all over again, you know? There is a tiny bit of weathering on here, so, you know, there's not zero weathering, but it's so faint that you can't really notice it. It's just, you know, almost like a shading effect. This piece here looking really pleated and brand new kind of throws the figure off a little bit. You can remove it. I'm sure there's some techniques out there to use on this to get it to look a little more natural. He's got some really cool stuff going on here. He's got this wrapped piece of fabric going around his neck here, and this I don't know if this is like a voice box or if this is some kind of breather of some sort. I don't know too much about the Tusken Raider outfit and how they function. If anybody knows, they can let me know down below, but this is really cool bandolier. It'd be cool if there was actually some like shells or something in there, but it's pretty empty, but it looks really nice. You got this belt with a bunch of pockets and the bandolier with a bunch of pockets. Pretty cool looking. The belt just kind of straps onto the back, and you got more fabric. Fabric on fabric on fabric. Looks pretty good though. A lot of head movement. Wow, tons of head movement here. You can do whatever you want with this thing. That's cool. Let's take this outer piece off here and check out the joints. Alright, so here we go. If you want to pose him like this, he looks pretty good, but he's still really clean looking. He probably looks worse without the overcoat on, and it looks super bright and clean without it, but yeah, you got some nice wrappings on the hands here just to match the hands we were looking at earlier. It goes all the way up the forearm on both sides. Pretty cool. You got these hands with these tucked thumbs, like he's like when he's shouting for the dogs or making a call to somebody. Both hands kind of have that tucked thumb like that. That looks really good. I think we got double joint. Yeah, we got double jointed elbows here. So that is great. That's a lot of posability here. And then, yeah, the fabric here is going to restrict some movement. So, but look at this. The shoulder goes forward and back and rotates. So that is awesome. So you're just going to have to be careful with the fabric here that you don't rip it. But a lot of movement here And so as long as you keep that, you know, not from getting super tight, you can do some really cool stuff with that. Look at that, he turns about a 45-degree angle to the side. So if you're holding him straight, that's how much his chest rotates there. That's pretty good. I like that. There is some padding underneath here, like a fat suit. So it kind of looks a little odd if you have the coat off and you're not posing him very well. Like the arms are really skinny and this is kind of a puffy material here. You got a little bit on the back, but really happy with that being double jointed elbows there. Let's take a look at the legs. So yep, we have a double jointed knee also. Look at that movement. That's really cool. A lot of movement there. Oh, ratcheting legs going up. Another thing, the fabric's going to be the restrictor in this out of everything, but it's a little baggy, so you know, it doesn't go back too far. You know, that's kind of straight right there. It really only goes a couple clicks back, but the knees definitely give it. You know, oh, it looks like he's dancing. Isn't that nice? But I noticed these boots, and these look absolutely terrible. I mean, the texture looks kind of cool. It's the same as the head, really. There's a lot more detail in the head than there is in the boots. They definitely spent more time and effort making this look good, obviously, than they did with the boots. It's a little shiny and almost wet looking, but there's no ankle, and they look like some kind of like actually mummified feet. You have this small amount of movement here at the ankle from inside the boot, but it's not a whole lot. I think this is going to be your most limiting factor here when you go to pose them, is trying to get these feet flat on the ground, because there's no bendability. I mean, it'd be cool if they made this bend a little bit in the front, but I don't know if that's going to mean that he's not going to be able to stand up very well without his stand, but we'll have to see here. And then we got everybody's least favorite stand that comes with these figures, is the sand with the footprints in them. However, being a Tusken Raider, the sand is pretty appropriate, but I just wish it was flat. Look at this guy's footprint. It's huge and it's flat. It doesn't have any like foot shape to it, so even if you wanted to put him right on that one, it doesn't fit very well. It's very odd looking. He kind of just sits on the top. I feel like everybody's voiced their opinions on this enough. I hope Hot Toys just stops making this and just gives us the regular one, but I guess it does make a little bit more sense for it to be sand than the Imperial kind of grating floor. But you could have done a nice flat sand texture or something like that. But that's everything that comes in the box here. So let's go ahead and put some accessories on this guy and pose him up and see what he looks like. Alright, so after posing this guy for a little bit, I think he's totally awesome looking. The feet do pose a challenge for keeping him standing. I'm going to be posing him probably standing straight up and down, so to me, I guess it really doesn't make a difference, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more movement in the feet. That being said, the double jointed elbows, the shoulder, and the legs, the knees specifically, are really great. This is just a fun figure to pose with the stuff that he comes with. The Tusken Raider is such an iconic Star Wars image that I think anybody would be happy to have this on their shelf. I think even having him being too clean, still people will get over it. But let's go find a spot for him on the shelf. I think I am going to put him with the New Hope figures to kind of fill out that a little bit more. I'm kind of running out of room on my shelf that's all Mandalorian stuff. So we're going to make this guy a classic Star Wars figure for the time being. Alright, so here's the Tusken Raider up on the shelf. What do you guys think of this particular figure? Is this something that you picked up or thinking to pick up? Or are the robes being too clean kind of a deal breaker for you? You know, let me know down below if you guys think this is cool. I think it's totally epic. I want to see them get more Star Wars stuff like this and more offbeat characters, and I hope that they make more Tusken Raiders later, like especially from Book of Boba Fett. There were some really cool, unique looking Tusken Raiders they could definitely make that people would buy because they just look really cool and they would look epic altogether, just being a little bit different. I think they would sell really well. But yeah, I got him up here on the New Hope shelf, and he looks pretty good next to the Sand Trooper here. I think I have just one more A New Hope figure to open, and that's Grand Moff Tarkin. And I don't have the Darth Vader. I'd like to pick him up. I think MMS 279 I'm looking to pick up. I moved all the heroes over to the left. I ordered these display stands with the Moducases, but they were just a little too tall for my liking. So I cut the legs down a little bit to make it shorter so I could put the figures on there in the back row, and they were high enough to make them, you know, visible, but not so they weren't ramming their heads into the ceiling. But I think it's a pretty good height. I'm probably going to do the same thing for the right hand side over here if I get a couple more figures over there. But I think it looks pretty good. Maybe we'll do something different with this light later and kind of put it up towards the top in this shelf and move the droids to the front. If you guys have any suggestions for me to make this look a little bit better, or anything else I could be doing, let me know, because I'm all for it. And you know, I'm kind of a noob at this. I'm pretty much just winging it, but I think it's turning out pretty good. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I hope you guys have a good one. Take it easy.